What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We are back in my shop today working on the Trailblazer. So a lot's changed since the last video where I dropped the engine in. So I've been working on this during the week after I get home from RPM and been trying to button everything up. So let me show you what we got so far. All right, so here's where we're at. The engine is installed. Everything is wired. I made the cold air for it last night. I didn't do a video on that because it was pretty straightforward, but everything's moving right along. So technically, if it had an exhaust on it and oil in it, this thing's ready to fire up. But what we're going to do today in this video is make the exhaust for it. So I'm going to get a table out, lay everything out, and we'll go over what we're going to do for the exhaust. Okay, so what we have under the truck is a set of Cook's headers, and I ordered the little ball socket extension pieces so that I can make my exhaust off the headers. Now this already had an SLP single to dual tip exhaust on it. You can see there. And we are still going to run dual tips on this exhaust, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a true dual setup with an X pipe. So I need to get this out of the way, and then I'll show you what muffler we're going to use. So I've got two Stainless Works S2 mufflers, and these things are rather loud, but they sound really good. So the goal today is to make our X pipe, get the mufflers mounted, and make from the headers to the X pipe. So I'm not going to do the tailpipes quite yet, because I'm kind of anxious to get this thing running. So I'm going to get that old exhaust out of the way, and then we'll get started with fabrication. Okay, so the factory muffler stuff sat up in here. So this is where my new mufflers are going to go, probably right about in this area. So what I have is my two mufflers on the table right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is make my X pipe. Now I want the mufflers to be close together, a little bit of gap, but I need to measure to see how wide my X pipe needs to be. Once I figure that out, I'll show you how we're going to build the X pipe. So here we've got some stainless tubing. Basically, we're going to use 4 90-degree bends. 2 of the 90s, I'm going to cut a section out of the center and then weld them together. And then I'll cut the legs off all 4 corners. And then these 2 90s are going to be made into 45s. So when I make it into a 45, it's going to be coming out straight again. So 4 90s is what it's going to take to make the X pipe. Pretty straightforward, really. I'm going to start cutting stuff. Alright, we have our 2 90s cut. Now we need to come in here and cut out of the edges of them. This part's a little tricky to get them both right. Luckily I've got a sander so I can make them both perfect. But we're not going to take a ton out. You know, we're not going to come halfway up the tube. Maybe about, I don't know, an inch into the tube, so it'd be a third of the way in. Alright, so here is our X pipe. Pretty simple, right? So I'm going to go ahead and weld this complete while it's small and manageable. Then I'll cut my 45s and finish making it so, you know, it'll be long. And then I'm going to attach the mufflers to it and try to get it up under the truck so I can start making everything else. Okay, now that the X pipe is made, I need to make 4 45s out of 2 90s. So I'm going to get back on the bandsaw and cut those real quick. So we're going to weld the 2 short ends of our 45s to the wider end of the X, and this is going to go towards the front of the truck. Back here is going to be a little bit narrower. We're going to weld our long 45s, and then our mufflers will go back here. All right, so this is our X-pipe completed. What I'm going to do is stick the mufflers on one end real quick and then put it up in the truck and see how the fitment looks. And from there, I have to put a slip fit on the front end so that from the headers to the X-pipe, I can remove and replace if I need to. All right, so we have the X-pipe and the mufflers in here about where I want them. And what I'd like to do is make a straight shot from here forward to the header, because that would make my life easy. As you can see, I dropped the header, so I have to rebend that real quick. And once I do that, I'll take some measurements for slip fit up to here. And if I can go straight, that'll make my life real easy. Then I'll just have to make this side come over the cross member, around, and into the X-pipe. So I got pretty lucky. I'm gonna have a straight shot. So we have a slip fit on one side, 2-bolt ball flange on the other that goes to the header. I'll throw it up there and see what it looks like. All right, so we started on the driver's side. You can see I had to put a little jog in it to get around the trans cross member. I'll go ahead and throw this up there, and then I've got to make 2 90s, and that should be it. Okay, so we have the exhaust up here. Looking pretty slick. Got the clamps tight there, hanger there, X-pipe. And I rotated the 2 mufflers a little bit to gain some ground clearance because they hang pretty low. The truck's real low to the ground. So now what I need to do is make a hanger for the muffler section back here. And that's gonna do it for now. I'm gonna do that real quick, then I'll close out this video. Okay, so the last hanger is welded on. Let's take a look at it. So here we go. Mufflers sitting at a little bit of an angle. Hanger welded to the muffler. No tailpipes yet. It's going to get turned down for now, like I said. But all in all, man, I think this turned out really well. Plenty of clearance around everything. Everything will unbolt and come out. So we are good. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully the next video I put out will be this thing running. This week I'm going to work on getting a tune set up for it. Get the old fuel out of it, get new fuel in it. Don't forget, always check me out on Instagram. I try to post up there daily what I'm doing with this and what I'm doing with other projects. So stay tuned. I'm excited. Hopefully we get this thing running here in the next week.